So, good evening, everybody. So, I welcome everybody for this theory session on operating system. Okay. So, today we will discuss about one of the subtopics that is CPU scheduling, right, of process management. Okay. So, here, why we require CPU scheduling? See, you observe this particular diagram. See, this is process state diagram. Okay, you observe the different states of a process here. First it will go for a new state, then it will come for a ready state, right? Then from ready state it will go for running state. From running it will come back again to the ready state, then it will terminate it. The process will get terminated. Now what happens here, why we require the CPU scheduling is that, see what happens here. This is, see, before CPU executes a particular process, all the process will be in the ready queue, right? For a time being, you just take that P1, P2, P3, P4, P5. All the 5 processes are there in the ready queue. Now the question is that which process will get the CPU cycle, right? So all this is based on the this CPU scheduling algorithm, how you are going to schedule the CPU, right? Now you just see, here we have the different types of CPU scheduling algorithms we have, right? See, we have primitive and another is called as a non-primitive. What is this primitive and non-primitive? See, non-primitive means you think that a CPU is executing a process, right? So until the process fully get executed, right, no other process can disturb that, right? Here what happens, the process fully it will get executed, right? No other process will come and intervene that process, right, and finish its execution. Now what happens in primitive, right? What is this primitive? See, you think that CPU is executing a process, okay? Some other process with a higher priority will come, right? Then what happens? That process will be removed and it will put back to the ready queue. Okay? Yes or no? Right? Or you think that a CPU is executing a process, some time quantum will be given for the process, say for 2 hours. After executing for particular 2 hours, what happens? The CPU removes that process and put back to the ready queue, right? See, here we'll discuss about 2 types of algorithms here, 2 categories of algorithm. One is called primitive, another is called as non-primitive. See, in primitive, we are going to discuss about the 3 algorithms. One is called SRTF, shortest. See, non-primitive, we are going to discuss about first come, first serve. First come, first serve algorithm. Second algorithm, we are going to discuss about shortest job first. The third, multi-level queue, right? See, in primitive, we are going to discuss about shortest remaining time first, then round robin scheduling algorithm, priority based scheduling algorithm, right? So all these are the primitive algorithms, right? Here non-primitive algorithm, right? Now you just see here, so before learning this particular algorithm, some of the parameters you should know here, right? What are the parameters you should know here? First one is the arrival time. What is this arrival time? See, the time at which the process enter the ready or state. That is what you call it as an arrival time, right? Now, burst time, right? What is this burst time? The time required by a process to get execute on CPU, right? That is what you call it as a burst time, right? So the third one is the completion time. What is this completion time? The time at which the process complete its execution, right? That is what you call it as a completion time, right? And we have one more that is called as turnover time, right? Turnaround time. What is this turnaround time? Completion time minus arrival time. That is what you call it as a turnaround time. Next one, we have the waiting time. What is this waiting time? Turnaround time minus burst time. That is called as an waiting time, right? And response time. What is this response? The time at which the process get CPU first time, right? Minus the arrival time. That is what you call as a response time. See, for example, see, to demonstrate this arrival time, burst time, completion time, turnaround time, waiting time, and response time. See now, one person went for a bank. Okay. So at what time the person went for a bank? At 9 o'clock. That is what you call it as an arrival time. Now, burst time. What is this burst time? See, the person went to deposit the amount into the bank. See how much time, right? He will take. That he means the clerk will take to deposit the amount in the bank, right? For example, you think that 11 o'clock, 11 o'clock is arrival time. He went to the clerk will deposit the amount. See, how much time he has taken? 10 minutes. That is what you call as a burst time. That is a duration. 10 minutes is duration, right? The clerk take for the normal transaction, that is deposit, right? What is this completion time? The time at which the process completes its execution. See, when that amount is being deposited at the bank, at what time? At 11:10, right? So that is what you call as a completion time. See, arrival time, when the person arrived for a bank, 11. See how long he will take for an execution, that is a duration, that is 10 minutes. Now when he has completed the particular point, 10:10. Turnaround time means what? Completion time minus arrival time. See, completion time when the process complete, it means that when the transaction is being completed, 11:10. Arrival time 11, right? 11:10 minus 11, 10 minutes is a turnaround time. Waiting time. See, what is this waiting time? See, what is a normal time the clerk will take to deposit the amount? He will take around 10 minutes, right? But what happens? Due to some disturbance to the client, the particular clerk, what happens? He will take 10 minutes more. 10 minutes more, right? He has to fill the form. Some formalities will be there, right? So he will take one additional 10 minutes. See, what is a normal transaction time? 10 minutes. But he has taken how much additional time? He has taken around another 10 minutes time. See, total 20 minutes. Now, what is a waiting time here? Turnaround time minus burst time. That is called as a waiting time, right? See, turnaround time, 20 minutes, you think that. Burst time is 10 minutes. So 10 minutes additional, that particular person has to wait in the queue. Now, what is this response time? The time at which the process gets CPU first time. So now the person Now person has got a time of the clerk, right? Now at what time he got, uh, at what time the clerk has responded that particular person? At 11:20, you think that. What is an arrival time of the person? 11 o'clock, right? 11:20, that is 11:20 minus 11 o'clock, that is a 20 minutes response time. Okay, so these are the different parameters of the CPU scheduling, right? So by using these parameters, so we will see the first scheduling algorithm, all right? That is first come, first serve, right? FC, FS we will call. Now, what happens in this particular algorithm is that, see, here we have given the process number, arrival time, burst time, right? Process number, arrival time, burst time. I'll take annotation here. See now how many processes are there? P1, P2, P3, and P4. 4 processes are there. See, what is an arrival time for a first process? The first process arrival is on 0 time. He is arrived at 0 hour. You think that, okay? Next, what is this burst time to execute this process? 2 hours is a burst time, right? Now P2 has arrived at first hour, then his burst time is 2, P3 arrival time is 5 and burst time is 3, P4 arrival time is 6, burst time is 4. Now see here, we have Gantt chart to demonstrate this particular algorithm, right? This is what you call as a time chart here, right? Now you just see here at process P1 during the time 0. See, first you should know about the two things here. First you should know about what is the criteria. Criteria is arrival time, okay? What is the mode? Non-primitive mode it is. Non-primitive mode means what? See, here CPU will execute the full process, right? Full process, right? Based on the arrival time. Whoever comes first, CPU will execute that particular process, right? Here you just see here, we have now at 0 time, 0 hour, you think that. So any process has been arrived, it will check CPU. Yes, the first process is been arrived, right? The first process is been arrived at 0, right? What is the burst time here? Burst time is 2. Burst time is 2. Now what happens? The processor will execute this process for 2 hours, you think that, right? 2 hours. Next, after 2 hours, it will check that any process is been arrived, right? See here, 1 is there, 1. So this process P2 has been arrived at 1 here. See here, the process P2 will be arrived here, somewhere here, right? Now what happens? Now it will be arriving here. What happens? Then the process P2 get executed. P2 get CPU cycle. This process get P2 cycle. Now what happens here? So 2 plus 1 is 3. 2 plus 1 is 3. So it will take 1 hour to execute this particular process. See here, this is 1, right? So this is 1, okay? This is 1. This is 1 at 1 hour. 1 hour means where it will come? It will come here, somewhere here. So what is then this process P2 will get executed. How long it will get executed? depend upon the burst time 2. Now what happens? 2 plus 2, it is 4, right? Now at this particular 4th hour, it will check that any process has been arrived here. No, right? So it will wait for 1 hour here, right? 1 hour it will wait, you think. Then at this particular, it will execute, it will be idle. This at this particular point, the CPU will be idle. How long it will be idle? For 1 hour. After that, at this particular point, 5th hour, it will check that any process is been arrived. Yeah, this process is been arrived. What is this burst time? Burst time is 3. So it will execute the 3 units. 5 plus 3, it is 8. Okay. Next, it will check for the next arrival time. Next arrival time is 6. So at 6, at this particular point, 8th hour, it will check any process is been arrived. Yes. 4th process is arrived at 6. What is this burst time? 4. So the CPU will execute another 4 hours here, right? Now at another 12, it will check any other process has been arrived. No. So in this way, the CPU will execute all the process here. Okay. Now see here, you have to check the completion time. So this will not be given, right? Now what happens? You have to, from this Gantt chart, you have to find out the completion time. See now, when did this particular process P1 finish its execution? P1 right side you have to see, 2nd hour, right? You write this 2nd hour. Now when does the P2 completes, right? At 4th hour, right? Right, 4. Next, when does the process P3 complete? P3, right here, right? When does this P4 completes? At this 12. What is this completion time? Completion time is nothing but, what is this completion time? Right? How are you going to get the completion time? Burst time. So here you have to look at here. P1, simple here. See here, completion time. When does the process P1 completed execution? At right side you have to see 2, P2 4, P3 8, P4 12. Right? Now total turnaround time. What is this total turnaround time? Total turnaround time is nothing but the completion time minus arrival time. Completion time minus arrival time. Right? 2 minus 0 is 2. 4 minus 1, 3. 8 minus 5, 3. 12 minus 6, 6. This is total turnaround time. Now waiting time. What is this waiting time? Total turnaround time minus burst time. Now you just see here, total turnaround time minus burst time. Total turnaround time is 2. 2 minus 2, it is 0. Total turnaround time is 3. 3 minus 2 is 1. Total turnaround time is 3. 3 minus 3 is 0. Total turnaround time is 6. 6 minus 4 is 2. So this is a waiting time. See, the process P1 has to wait 0 hour to get the CPU. Now the process P2 has to wait for 1 hour to get the CPU. The process 3 has to wait for 0 hour to get the CPU, and process P4 has to wait for 2 hours to get the CPU. Right? Now response time. What is the response time minus arrival time? See, response time means when did this particular process has got first time CPU minus arrival time. See here, 0, process P1 has arrived, process P1 got 0 hour the CPU and his arrival time is 0. 0 minus 0 is 0. Now process P2, when did it got CPU? At second hour. Now 2 minus 1 is 1. Now when did the third process got a CPU? 5. 5 minus 5 is 0. Right? When does the process P4 has got a CPU cycle? 8. 8 minus 6 is 2. So this is how you're going to find out the response time. Okay. Now here they will ask you, find the average turnaround time. How to find out the average turnaround time? Simple it is. See, you take the average of total turnaround time. 2 plus 3 plus 2, 5, 5 plus 3, 8, 8 plus 4, 14. 14 divided by number of processes here. 14 is the total divided by number of 4. You will get around 3.5. This is the average turnaround time. Now, what is an average waiting time? You take the total of this particular column, 0, 1, 0, 2. You'll get 3. 3 divided by 4. So the average waiting time is 0.75. Okay. So this is about this algorithm, that is first come first serve. Okay.